Robbie Williams has revealed he spent 7 days in intensive care after doctors discovered abnormalities on his brain. The Angels singer cancelled his Russian tour dates in September due to illness, and it was later revealed he had been hospitalized. Robbie Williams has opened up about his recent secret brain horror that left him in intensive care for 7 days now. In a dramatic new interview, Robbie reveals how he became seriously ill while backstage at a stadium in Zurich on September 2nd. He told The Sun, "My left arm went numb and I couldn't stop dribbling out of the side of my mouth. I had a headache and I was also having trouble breathing. I couldn't get a breath." A doctor was called backstage but told the 43-year-old he could continue his massively successful heavy entertainment show tour. Robbie said it was scary going into intensive care without his wife Ada Field. The 43-year-old told how his left arm went numb and couldn't stop dribbling when he was backstage on his recent world tour. Robbie recalled, "After the show, my arm was still numb and my mouth was still dribbling. It was very scary. I was sent straight to ICU." Robbie on the moment doctors discovered abnormalities on his brain, "I saw myself as a SOLR. I needed to finish what I'd started out, and I was going to go to Russia for the final 2 shows no matter what shape I was in." First, he flew to London for emergency tests. He said, "I had blood tests done, and I had various scans including ones of my heart and my brain, and there were some abnormalities found, including something on my brain that looked like blood. That was obviously very scary, so the decision was taken out of my hands and I was sent straight to the intensive care unit." Robbie was forced to cancel his Russian tour dates after he flew back to London for emergency tests. Ada was in the US with kids Teddy, 5, and Charlie, 3. He added, "It's very weird to go from being on tour to suddenly being in intensive care, but that's where I found myself." Wife Ada Field, 38, was in the US with their children Teddy, 5, and Charlie, 3. Robbie went on, "So she couldn't see me, and there I was in a little bed, attached to tubes. But in the ICU I was surrounded by people who were caring for me, in every sense of the word, 24 hours a day. I was confused and scared, but I knew I was in the right place. And, maybe naively, I felt like I knew I was going to be okay." Former Take That singer Robbie Williams tells fans how he had to pull out of his tour after falling ill. "They monitored me and gave me InMo, basically. They checked everything out and eventually, after 7 days, they said that I was fit to leave the ICU. After that, I still had to have a final scan to check that I was okay to fly." Robbie, whose new book Reveal chronicles his last 10 years, was then allowed to go to Los Angeles to spend 2 months recovering. The former Take That singer said he also had trouble breathing during the ordeal. He said, "I was told to do nothing stressful for a few weeks, just to be, and sleep, and treat myself nicely." Addict Robbie, off booze now for 18 years, said the terrifying health scare has resulted in him re-evaluating his life. He explained, "I guess it's taught me that I'm 43, not 23, and that I need to look after my mind and my body better. So I've started doing yoga and Pilates, and I've been meditating. I'm a very anxious person, and that had also taken hold of my life, and I needed to find a way to deal with it." Robbie's new book Reveal takes a look into his last 10 years. "The whole experience gave me a real scare, because I've been in some dark places before, but back then I was 23, or I was 27, or I was 32. Once you've been on the planet for 43 years, you realize that, even if you've got everything that I have, you're not invincible. So from now on I'm going to look after myself a lot more." Carrie. Robbie has opened up about his bid to beat depression, which he admits has overwhelmed him at points in recent years and left him feeling crazy. In a gut-wrenchingly emotional episode of the Bizarre Life podcast with Dan Wooten, available to download on Apple Podcasts from Thursday at 8 p.m., Robbie says he has been completely derailed by the recent health issues and the stress of performing to over 1 million people on tour. He spoke about the new book on a recent Bizarre podcast, which will be available to download and listen to from 8 p.m. on Thursday. Robbie Williams received relationship advice from Cameron Diaz on Lorraine Robbie with singer Paloma Faith on Wednesdays. Lorraine speaking from his London home, where he said he now lives like a hermit. He said of his mental health battles, "I want to fix it. I want to beat it. In these moments, I'm having a really good time, sometimes. And then other times, I'm not. It's overwhelming. My whole life doesn't revolve around a depressed, neurotic, anxious state, but it does feature heavily. Robbie also opened up about his battle with depression. He went on, "It's a term that I've learned about myself that may or may not be true, but I'm a procrastinator who just wants to sit on a sofa. And I have a disease. It's called a disease and I use that word loosely. But I have a thing that makes me want to isolate and become a hermit and not go out and not take part in the world, and that's my sort of natural state of being. It's a constant fight going on in between my ears." Robbie on his battle with depression. "So I obviously, from time to time, let that win and become that person. I could stay there for 3 years in a row and realize I've only been out for my doctor's appointments. So it's a constant fight to sort of readdress this eternal battle that goes on in between my ears. You're dealing with stuff that's going on in your mind and you can't escape from it because it's there and you're stuck with it. But you kind of think that when you get to the horizon you'll change and things will be fixed. And I realized that at the end of this book, when I put it down, that I'm still the same person. And it worried me, you know." Axed Apprentice star Michaela went on show to beat her anxiety. Robbie Williams stunned by close friend and drug hell. Hugo Taylor chooses Spencer Matthews as best man at Millie Mackintosh wedding. The Apprentice's James White was fired from Real Job for gross misconduct. Apprentice stars have steamy fling in new series, as we reveal contestants Vanessa White to reconcile with ex Gary Salter after I'm a celeb stint. As a result, Robbie is now determined to make positive changes to turn his life and his health around for good. He said, "Things have got to change. I wasn't expecting the change to be so quick and so abrupt. There are things in place for me now to live a better life than how I was living before." Robbie's book Revealed by Chris Heath is out now. Robbie's episode of Bizarre Life is available to download from 8 p.m. on Apple Podcasts.